Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Sidebar with Winnie and Katherine. I'm Winnie, that's Katherine. Last week was unintentionally kind of heavy, so this week I want to talk about what we're watching.
Yeah.
Which actually, now that I'm thinking about what I'm watching, it's still going to be kind of heavy. But,
have you noticed that too? I've been really looking for things that are a little bit lighter.
Yeah.
It's difficult to find. Everything that they make now is very heavy. Movies, TV shows.
Actually, if you're looking for a good comedy, it's like a dark comedy. It's called Big Mistake. It's on Netflix. It's Stan Levy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My mother has started watching with, from Roseanne.
Yes, his mom's played by Roseanne's sister. Yes, he's really good, and of course he wrote. You know what I really appreciate him. He like directs and writes basically everything he's in. Right. So he wrote and created it, and it's really good. So it's an easy watch. They're like half hour, 40-minute episodes. I think there's like 8. I'm not done with it yet, but I'm almost done. And it's just an easy watch, and he's so cute. And I just think again, it's like not like it's not, and it's one of those like his humor. It's like it's not like always pee your pants laughing. It's like just like
I like comedy. Like
I do too.
I like smart comedy.
I do too. It's like you don't need. I don't like for me to find something really engaging. I don't need to like die laughing. I want to. It makes you think.
It's dumb now. It's like don't you think it's like everything's dulled down? So I'm always looking for. So I want to watch that. I'm up to date on The Pit, and there's a couple more episodes of that, but. And then I started watching The Real Housewives of Rhode Island.
Okay, so I have not. Of course, I am on. What is it? What do they do? The what's the acronym?
RI.
Yes, I am on that TikTok.
Yeah.
So I have not sat down and watched it, but I've seen probably almost every scene.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we are 40 minutes from Providence. Okay, so actually, one of the girls, Rosie, she interned at Kiss.
Right.
And she married Rich Damari, who worked at Kiss on the morning show before I did. Right. I never worked with either of them, but obviously we're, crossover. She, I believe, went into TV. I think she was
like a newscaster.
Yeah. Or like a lifestyle person down there. I don't know how they connected. I think she interned when he worked there.
But they've only been married for like a year.
Yeah, they got married quick. Oh. And I don't know if I should be saying this, but he was with somebody else for a while. Oh. And then they broke up, and then we knew that, I knew from like my inner people that they were dating, and I didn't really know either of them that well. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, they're like, oh, isn't that cool? Like, our own intern and him. And I'm like, okay. And then it was very quick that they got married. I think they had a very small ceremony. They may have even got the justice fees. I don't know all this. I'm spreading rumors. So I don't know her, but I hear she's a nice person. I don't know any, and Rich I know in passing. He's a nice guy. And then obviously Ashley and Jared.
Yes.
If you're a Bachelor and that was probably the last time I really was locked in on Bachelor, and I always thought Jared was so cute, and he's a Rhode Island kid, and he's in the restaurant industry, and he still is. They own a coffee shop, and he, for some reason, this is how I feel, like when you like a guy more than you, it never works out. And I don't know if that means it won't work out long term, or she beat that stereotype, because he did not like her for the longest time. Did you? So
I was very okay. This was at the point that I was like, I knew who everybody was, but I was not like totally engaged.
Okay, so essentially the lore of them is that they were friendly through all the Bachelor Nation stuff, like the Winter Games and the Paradise and whatever. And she had a thing for him. They were friends, and she really liked him, and he was just like, no, I look at you as a friend. Like, I'm not interested. And like there was lots of her crying over how Jared never wants to be with me, and I really love Jared, and then finally he broke down. And after like 2 years or 3 years, he said, fuck it, and started dating her.
Well, she did reveal on the show that she was a virgin.
Yes, she was. She was a virgin when she started on The Bachelor. She was a virgin. And it wasn't for religious reasons either.
She said, like, I wanted to save myself. I'm like, oh.
Yep. So Jared, I always loved Jared, and I don't dislike Ashley. Like, she seems nice, but the dynamic of as a girl, as a woman, I just don't like when we like the man more. Yeah. I've always heard, and I think it's to be true, marriages and relationships work where 2 things happen. Either you like each other, you're equally yoked, where you like each other the same, you're equally playing field, or the man loves you more. Because as women, we are meant to be nurturers and like wives, and like that's just, it's in us. It's in our bones to be motherly and nurturing. And with men, normally they don't want to put down roots, or they don't want to like build on something unless they're like 100% like in love and in it. And I always rub me the wrong way because I really like both of them separately. But for him, like, girl, why did you like wear him down? Because now I'm gonna think you're never gonna last. And like, does he really love you as much as you love him? Because she like was obsessed with him. Everyone was like, girl, let it go. And then everyone's like, wow, she got her dream.
Yeah.
She and now has 2 kids. They're married. She moved to Rhode Island. She was from like Virginia. Yeah. And I'm like, girl, you either beat the friend zone, which is almost impossible, or you're not gonna last long term.
They were talking about how like, so they own a little coffee shop in the area, and she was talking a little bit about like how they're, you know, struggling in terms of like it's not as profitable as they thought it would be, and he's always at work and that kind of stuff. So it's an interesting dynamic because I think that, so I'm an old school Bravo watcher.
Yeah.
But a lot of the shows the past couple of years I've really gotten away from, particularly the Real Housewives, because they're very like produced. A lot of these cities, especially when they're new cities,
they're not even friends.
They're not friends.
Yeah.
So like they just bring these random people together who then
they
like,
cast them. Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. But this is different because these people like most of them all know each other and like know each other from like growing up.
Well, that's the thing about Rhode Island. Rhode Island's so small.
Yeah. So I'm like, this is like how the Real Housewives used to be.
Yeah.
They used to actually get like, you know, there'd be like peripheral people, acquaintances, but everyone kind of knew each other. So you have this sort of core group. And then there's Ashley I, and then there's Rosie on the outside. So they're sort of like the new, younger-ish ones. And there's also a younger one, the girl that's 30. I'm forgetting all their
Kelsey.
names, but yeah, who has the...
Okay, we gotta talk about this. Okay, so let's talk about Kelsey. So she is in this 16,000 square foot mansion, beautiful. Basically, she says her boyfriend supports her doing it, but doesn't want to be on the show. They're not saying his name. He's 20 years older than her, essentially. They met when she was 19 and he was like 40. Yeah. And they've been together for 10 years. He has grown kids around her age. He doesn't want more kids. And he splits half the year he's in Miami with another woman, and half the time he's in Rhode Island with her. And she gets to basically do whatever she wants and spend all his money. She doesn't need to work. Yeah. She even has a boyfriend on the side. He seems to be fine with that, but they're not saying who it is. Of course, it's Rhode Island. It was easy to find that her boyfriend is John Caprio, who his father is that sweet old man, Frank, who had his own show. He just died of cancer, but he was like almost 90. Very sweet man. Everyone loved him. He had a TV show. But in my head, I'm like, how do they have because they're saying they're from a prominent family in Providence, Rhode Island, and how do they have so much money? Because this man didn't have like lawyer money. He had like old money. Yeah. Like he had like the cliff walk money. The house they're in was not like a lawyer money. So I'm like, they have a law firm, I believe, as a family, and then he was a judge himself. But I'm like, where did they get all this fucking money? Yeah, is it from just law? Like
that's my first thought was
because she said they're one of the richest families in Rhode Island, and I'm like, I've seen that judge, and he was a Providence like traffic court judge. Like, where was all the money coming from? I mean, I could see them easily being like millionaires, but not to the point where you have a house like that, because that house is like. Different money.
That's one of the first things I thought too. I was like, that doesn't. Generally, you're not getting that from. I mean, unless they're like the Rhode Island version of like a Morgan and Morgan.
Well, that's the only thing.
Do like volume, like.
Because I'm like, I know a couple of his sons are lawyers, right? I don't know, but this house was not lawyer money.
No, unless he's maybe he had a big case and then invested a lot of money and then did well and sort of like.
Well, the thing about Rhode Island is Rhode Island's old money.
Yes.
It's a lot of old money in Rhode Island. I mean, that's literally what if people go there, they don't leave, and they inherit property, they inherit these things. So maybe whatever property he's in was bought for, 1% of what it's worth now. I don't know.
But she basically it is an interesting sort of dynamic in that she is so open about it. Obviously, she doesn't have the ability not to be open about it. Yeah. So she just was like, I'm just going to deal with it on the front end and like tell everybody what it is. Like, yep, I'm 30 years old. Like, I'm with this guy. I've been with him. I mean, she's been with him for 10 years. Yeah. So it's like, you can tell because she's at the point she starts talking about, she's like, well, I do want kids, but like, I know he's not going to give it to me. And the thing about like weird, different, like kind of dynamics like that, I think whatever people want to do is fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you're not hurting anybody, I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. But there obviously is, like, there must be, she's been living this, like, life of luxury, and now it's like, okay, you're 30, it's like, you gotta...
Do you want to give that up?
Kids, like, I'm like, you're gonna have to. Who's gonna have that level of someone like you're gonna have to?
Well, the thing is,
think.
I think that she met him when she was so young, and she wasn't even thinking about these things. And once you hit around your your early 30s, you're like, shit, do I want kids? Am I gonna have kids? For women, I mean, not only do we have a small, a window of time, but a lot of us, when we get towards our early 30s, we're like, shit, if I don't start now, I'm gonna be like a geriatric pregnant lady at 35, which is not geriatric in life, but to be pregnant it is. And so you're like thinking like, oh, like I would like to get pregnant in the next year or two. Okay, well, you're in a relationship that you know what it is. And I do appreciate that he doesn't expect her to be loyal back. Like he lets, like, everyone online's like, where can I find a man that leaves me alone for a second? Now, mind you, I am like I'm very like attached. I'm a very a physical person. Like I need my person with me a lot. Like that's just me. Like my boyfriend and I wouldn't have lasted if we had like a long distance relationship, just because I just need that time. For me, quality time is a big thing. But if you don't need quality time and you're cool with that type of time where it's like I get my 6 months and then I get my lifestyle.
This is a lot.
I'm just saying, but if she was okay with it in her 20s when she wants to flit and float, and
you know what it's like, it's one of those things probably that it's like she's okay with it to a degree, but like, do you think that would be what she chose if she could choose? No. You know what I mean?
But it's like, how superficial are you? Are you okay with losing that access and that money? And I would like to hope that in the 10 years she's had to spend no money, that she saved something, or he set up something for her.
And I mean, the thing I worry about with people like that too is like so you're not married, you don't have any rights to any of this. You haven't worked in your entire 20s, so like, what if he kicks you out tomorrow? Like,
yeah.
So like traditionally on the Real Housewives, a lot of times what women will do is it's a way for them to potentially like create their own career that allows them to leave the relationship. So sometimes in Real Housewives cities, like the first or second year, you'll see them come on and you'll see sort of the like dynamic of the relationship, and all the viewers are like, oh, like they seem like they don't even like each other, this and that. And so a lot of women like
they're half out the door.
Yeah. Like, can I make enough money on this? And they do. Like, there's a lot of women.
I mean, I respect that. I respect it because you gotta pivot. You know what I mean? And if you've been with a man,
people who don't have careers.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta find a way.
The thing about when you have someone that has so much money, there is even if they are not controlling, there is a sense of control that comes with that money. Like if she was with a 50-year-old man who was like a union worker, I don't think she would be doing this shit. But there's a certain, and he does seem from all accounts supportive, and he's cool with her being on the show. He just doesn't want to be a part of it, and he's cool with her dating other people and sleeping with other people, essentially. He's letting her have autonomy in a lot of ways. I shouldn't say letting, but he is not using his money as a control tactic in that sense, where like no one else can touch you and you can't do any of these projects that maybe look bad or whatever. He's letting her tell her side of the story, just he doesn't want to be a part of it, even though he knows everyone's going to find out it's him. Like there's pictures of them on the internet. Everyone knows. It wouldn't have taken long for someone to figure out it's him, but just when it came to his likeness, he didn't want to do it. Fine. So there's definitely, and I would like to think coming from that sweet man that is Frank, that he is a good human. Right? So I don't think he's like a creepy old man in that sense, but I do think that him knowing the life he provides for her, he is able to then have two women, two lives, whatever. And that for him is probably something, and that's why he probably did want someone significantly younger. 19 is way too fresh out of high school, in my opinion, when they started dating, but that's the girl that's not looking for kids. That's the girl that's not looking for a guy in the house every night. But now that she's 30, she's looking for someone in the house every night.
She's sort of trapped herself.
And now, so he either can stay with her or he just goes find another girl that's gonna do the same thing.
Well, that's what I was like. Girl, like you're on the back end of it because you're not the wife. You're not, so.
And the other woman, his wife. No, neither of them are wives.
Somebody down in Miami.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, listen, like I said.
Yeah.
People can do whatever they want, but there are consequences to the choices that we make, and it's like, she's probably at that point now where it's like, what do I do? Because I have to give up. So it's interesting, like sort of the dynamic, because she's young, she's 30, and then you have like Liz, who's older.
And then she's like, close 50?
Yeah, like she's having a grandkid.
Yeah.
And she's an interesting character. I mean, they're very Rhode Island, like old school. It reminds me of, because I don't know that people really know sort of the history of Rhode Island. Like there's a lot of like old school, they're watching
Yes.
old school mom
Yes.
collection.
Yes.
And so even this idea that I'm like, in the first like 2 episodes, we're talking about like everybody's husbands like basically cheating and like having mistresses, and I'm like, you know, in a weird way, I'm like, it kind of reminds me of like old school mom type where like, yeah, those like the you know the guys would have a wife and everybody knew. And they all had a mistress, and like mistress had their own apartment, but it was like 2 separate things. But like everybody was like aware.
Well, to me, obviously, I didn't grow up in Rhode Island, but we're very close proximity. I mean, Providence. I actually lived in Providence for 3 months in my 20s. Long story, don't need to go into it. But I did. But I lived in Providence, but I was still working in Boston, so I was never actually in Providence. But I love to go to Providence for dinner. I like the Providence Place Mall. I like Providence a lot. I think Providence is a hidden gem. I don't think it gets the respect it deserves. And I would personally, I would live in Rhode Island. I really like Rhode Island as a whole. I like Narragansett. I like Newport. I think it's like, I think what people forget is that everyone thinks of like mob as like New York or like a city, but Rhode Island is situated farther enough away that if you're a mobster, you can be in Boston or New York for the week or for the day or get your business, but you want your family far away. So, and Rhode Island is a sleeper state almost because it's situated between 2 big cities. You know what I mean? Like it's probably 2 hours. I really think Rhode Island's a hidden gem in so many ways. I think they have great food, great beaches. Like I mean, you can basically be in Boston but not pay Boston. I mean, if I'm gonna live 40 minutes from Boston, I'd rather live in Rhode Island than Worcester. Like, you know what I mean? Or even like North Shore, right? So it's like, I remember when I did live in Rhode Island, I lived in East Providence, and it took me 35 minutes from my front door to my parents' front door in Quincy, which is essentially Boston. Like without traffic, it was 35 minutes. So if you had business in Boston or you had business in New York, but you didn't want your family anywhere near it, Rhode Island was a perfect place to have it. And then Providence kind of was built on some of that old school, like
Buddy Cianci used to be the mayor. Like he was like, I think he was indicted a couple times. I actually listened to this podcast. I'll think about the name of it, and it was really good. It was all about like the old school kind of, you know. So that's what it fit. That's the vibe. And you can
get through Rhode Island in 40 minutes. You can get from basically Attleboro, Massachusetts to Connecticut in 40 minutes. You just go through. It's crazy. Like when you're driving, you're like, oh, once I get through Connecticut, okay, basically I want to just get to Connecticut. I just got to get like, you know, an hour and 15, like whatever. But I just feel like there is a lot of things that people don't realize about Rhode Island if you're not from the New England area or from Rhode Island or Massachusetts or, you know, a bordering state that like I'm not surprised by any of this. Their accents are real. They're I think the Italian mob. That's not just New York. That's not New Jersey. That is very Rhode Island. They have a lot of Italian food. Federal Hill is all Italian food. Like I just think people don't know what they don't know. And if you're not from this region, you wouldn't know what Rhode Island has to offer in the sense of drama and to be able to live, whether in a very high-end place or, you know, Woonsocket. Woonsocket's probably 10, 15 minutes from like a really nice, expensive place like Lincoln or whatever.
It's like it's an interesting place for Bravo to have picked.
I'm surprised. I wonder how they came on that. Yeah. Maybe the Newport vibe. They were like, there's old money there.
Well, originally that's when people were talking about there was going to be Real Housewives of Rhode Island. They were like, where, like what part is it going to be?
You also what's her name was from Rhode Island? Olivia Copel.
Yes.
And she was, I mean, Miss America or whatever, Miss Universe, Miss Rhode Island. Yeah. I mean, they had Nick Jonas 10 years ago. Now she's married to a football player, made a huge career. Yeah. Her family, she has a bunch of sisters. They were trying to be the Kardashians, but it didn't work out. So Rhode Island does have, and I think she came from some type of money, like, you know, most pageant girls do. Yeah. So I think if you pay attention to what type of people are coming out of Rhode Island, it's normally, you know what I always think is funny now on Rhode Island, we'll get back to Real Housewives, is that Viola Davis grew up in Central Falls, Rhode Island. Isn't that crazy? She went to Central Falls High. I'm like, Viola Davis, one of the most accredited, most sought after, most, you know, amazing actresses is from fucking Central Falls, Rhode Island.
I didn't know that. Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It is, you know, it's sort of like the forgotten state because
it is
small, and so that's why I think it's interesting that they picked it because it's not really on the map to anybody. So it gives, you know, I mean, I think that's what you think about too. Instead of like going to a city that's expected, it's like maybe go someplace that, you know, and I think it's the only one that's not a city. It's the only, no, there's New Jersey and New York.
By the way, can we talk about how Rhode Island's gonna really see a nice uptick in tourism in the next few months.
Because of Taylor Swift's wedding?
No, because of this.
Oh, because of this. But Taylor Swift's getting married in Rhode Island this year.
I think so, yeah. But she's down all the way, like in Connecticut.
Really good.
I don't know. But I'm saying, like, if you are watching this season and you're not from there or you've never really visited there, it's a great little weekend trip.
Well, and
it's just so, yeah.
I mean, all the mansions, all the Gilded Age mansions.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Everyone who is like upper class in New York used to vacation.
Something tells me that Audrey's Coffee, whatever it's called, it will have a very big uptick. Jared's going to see a big uptick from this, which is, he knows. I think being in reality TV, he knew what the benefit was, and I think that will help them long term, because with reality TV, the long term is a business out of it that can stand the test of time. And they already have it. They just need to get more money from it. So I'm like, the fact that Jared's like at the Warwick Mall with his kids, it's just like so, but I just think it's a place where with New York or Beverly Hills or Orange County or Miami, is there a Real Housewives of Miami?
Yes.
I feel like there should be.
It was one of the old ones, then it went away for like a decade, and then they brought it back.
But I feel like those are kind of unattainable ideas. Like, no, I'm not ever going to be a housewife of Orange County. Like, but I can drive all up and down fucking Rhode Island and hit every spot they're going to be at. You know what I mean? Like, it's not this like elitist idea. Are these women have money, or are they an elite in that area? But Rhode Island's such a blue collar place that I think it's attainable to people that they're like, oh, I'll go to Rhode Island. Yeah, I'll go to Rhode Island for the weekend. I can go here. It's not going to cost them. They don't have to go to Erewhon or something like that. They're going to go to like some crab shack on the side of the road. Yeah. So I think even for a destination,
it's fun. Everybody go visit Rhode Island.
No, don't, because it's my little hidden gem. I'm telling you, when everyone goes to the Cape, I go to Rhode Island.
Do you?
Oh my God.
I'm not a Cape girl.
I am not a Cape girl at all. I hate the Cape.
You couldn't pay me. It's so funny. Isn't it so funny depending on where you are? I mean, I go north, or we go to Marshfield.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in Marshfield because it's so much closer, but I can't do. I've never done the Cape.
No, we did the Cape when we were younger. Obviously, you know, the typical. My parents would rent a house for the week. My dad would normally just split his time between working and going back and forth. Yeah. But then, as we got older, we stopped doing that. We would do actual like vacations in the summer. And then about 10 years ago, my parents started renting houses in Rhode Island, near Narragansett Bay, like the Newport area. And it's like, and it's just really a nice time to chill and relax. So, and it's like 50 minutes from the house, and there's not, and the traffic is, okay. The thing about the Cape, it's also 50 minutes from my house where I grew up, but it's actually 7 hours. Yeah. With Rhode Island, if there's a little bit of traffic during the summer, but it's still 60, maybe an hour and a half. Look, my cousin has a home in Wellfleet, right? Well, I actually have 3 cousins they're all siblings, and they all bought vacations home in Wellfleet. Mm-hmm. And so me and my sister went down a couple summers ago to spend time with him and his husband, because Wellfleet's kind of close to P-Town too. So we left Quincy at 12:30. I think it was a Friday, but it was still 12:30. We got there at 6:30, and I'm like, I could have flown to California. Yeah. I literally, and my sister was working right while I'm driving, and I'm literally. I went 100 miles, maybe 90 miles.
For anybody who's not from Massachusetts, to get to the Cape, so people love Cape Cod. It's beautiful.
Once you're there, I'm like, oh, this is such a great place. Yes. But you couldn't pay me to go to the Cape.
Because it takes you, first of all, so it's basically you have to go, I always go down Route 3, or you go 495.
Yeah, but you're really going 3A or 3A the whole time.
Literally
two roads,
and like half the states go onto the Cape every week.
And they have 2 bridges.
Yes, and then you get to drop to the bridge. Yeah. And then it's like the bridge is just the beginning to the Cape, so it depends on what town you are on the Cape. If you're like on the Cape.
I think the deep Cape is like 2 hours from the bridge ish, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the tip of the Cape, I believe is like an hour and a half maybe, or like from the bridges. But and then if you go there, you want to go to Nantucket, which is or Nantucket, it's like it's a lot.
I've never been to Nantucket.
I went once.
This vineyard a million times, so I've never been to Nantucket.
When I tell you Nantucket will cost you, if you go there for a weekend in the Cape, or the weekend in the summer, it would cost you $10,000 without even thinking about it.
Regular for Nantucket.
Yeah, no, my friend went. They went for like 2 or 3 days, and I think he said the hotel was like $2,000 a night. Yeah. And it's like, we're not talking about, regular hotels, because they make all their money in 3 months and 4 months, and they upcharge the fuck out of everything.
All of it. I mean, if you're not from around here, and you're like the beaches are beautiful. I mean, everything.
Yeah.
But it's like, you have to be down there.
Yeah.
Stay. Like, a weekend to me is never worth it.
No.
Never worth it.
No.
Because it's just too much. So
I would rather go to Rhode Island.
yeah, you go to Rhode Island, and that's it. So
Okay. What?
we want to talk about this other documentary.
I know. So now that we're out of like the fun stuff, I watched that false prophet thing. Did you watch it?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
So basically, it's about, if you haven't watched it, it's on Netflix. It's very good. It's four episodes. It's about a guy who was LDS, Mormon, whatever. And his I would say it's like a subsection because he basically created his own little cult off of that. If you want to explain it?
So basically, I mean, it is kind of interesting. If anybody watched that, it was the pray and obey.
Yeah, pray, sweet love, pray, obey. It was good. It was about
Warren Jeffries.
Yes.
And Warren Jeffries was like the head of this like really, really conservative sect of, you know, it's like, I mean, the Mormon church is very confusing to me because there's so many sort of.
And then there's like literal cults that come off of it. I'm not saying that Mormonism is a cult, but the people that use it for cult-like behavior is actually next level.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Warren Jeffries basically went away for like having sex with young girls. And what he did from jail, right, was so, you know, they have like a prophet. And until somebody replaces that prophet, and that has to like come from who the prophet is. So Warren Jeffries was the prophet. And because he was in jail, they were like, well, he's still our prophet. And they actually look at like anybody who's like persecuted or charged with crimes as like, see, they're persecuting him. See that he is the prophet. So Warren Jeffries is the prophet. He's still in jail. Apparently he starts to get a little crazier and crazier in jail. And he sends out this edict that says, no more getting married, no more having children. So the entire sect is like basically
barren.
Yeah, nobody's allowed to have sex. Nobody's allowed to have children, that kind of stuff. And so this is like years that he's been in jail, and then all of a sudden, this guy called Sam Bateman, he essentially comes up with this idea that he's going to say that Warren Jeffries
died.
I don't think he says.
I think he said he died. I think he said that he died, or that he made him the prophet.
He definitely, he makes him the prophet. Maybe he did say he died.
I swear he said he died.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right, that he said he died at some point. So he basically makes him.
By the way, he's still very much alive. He's 70.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking creep.
Yeah.
Ugh, God.
And so this guy, like, starts his own, like, sect. He starts showing up all of a sudden. So there's, like, it was really interesting because, like, even within the sect, there's, like, different kinds of people who, when this guy Sam starts showing up with women and children, like, the other ones are like, what do you mean though? Because the prophet said
we can't have kids.
We can't have kids. Like, so and for them, disobeying the prophet is like, I mean.
And he said, no, Warren Jeff said to me, I'm the new one. I'm the prophet. And then he got 3 grown men to essentially believe him and then funnel him money through their successful, I think one was in construction, and he was just paying his whole life.
And he was driving 2 Bentleys in a Range Rover.
This Sam Bateman man did not have a job, and he was driving Bentleys and Range Rovers, and he had, I believe, 18 wives, and half of them were underage. And then it came out, we'll speed it up because it's a lot, it was 4 episodes. It came out that essentially he was having, obviously, sex with underage women, and there was this woman who kind of sleuthed her way in.
I'm obsessed with her. I feel like
she's this woman. I forget her name. What was her name?
Her name was oh no, what was her name?
What was her name?
Was it? Why am I thinking like Jennifer? It's not.
Was it Christine or something?
No. Yeah, it is Christine.
Okay.
And the other one's name is the Mormon woman's name was Julia.
Okay. Yeah. So Christine finds a way to go undercover essentially in this cult, and she makes documents with her boyfriend, husband.
She had previously been FLDS.
Yes.
Basically like a.
Yes, she had her own victim. I mean, she was a victim of that occult like thing before. So she ends up getting into their cult, and but as a friend, she did not join. As in, they knew she was.
Don't you think it's crazy how she got there? Like she was like, I mean, I was like, this is fascinating. But she basically said, so she got out of the, you know, she was married and she was being, you know, abused and all that kind of stuff. So she gets out, but then she gets a doctorate in cult, like cult.
Yeah, like psych, like yeah.
And then she's like, her husband's name's Tova, who's like a documentarian.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I had a calling to go there. So she moves to Colorado City, which is literally just like this.
Which is in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like its own, I think it's in Arizona.
Yeah, I think it's in Arizona. It is. No, I think it's in Arizona, yeah.
And maybe on the Utah-Arizona border.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, it basically says, like, I got a calling to go here, and, like, moves here, and, like, no normal people, like, no
It's basically a small town of this cult, yeah.
And even with, like, the police and stuff, like, they clearly didn't do it.
Because she had so much evidence, and they kept saying, you need more evidence, you need more evidence. So basically...
She had enough evidence.
She had all this video, because the guy was such a fucking narcissist that he kept saying, record me. So she was recording half his crimes. The problem is that she didn't have any, I guess, real evidence that he was having sex with underage girls. So finally, Julia, who was married to the man that was funneling him all this money, who was a successful construction guy, she knew her daughters were being taken advantage of, and they were doing nasty things to the point where her husband was having sex with other women in front of their children.
Well, because and she basically all her daughters.
Yeah, so that her daughters were given to him. Her underage daughters were being molested and disgustingly sexualized, and they were not even 15, 14, and then she was like, I have to do something. So she went to Christine and confided in her, and then that helped her get more information.
Christine told her story, so that
and then they ended up getting the FBI involved. Finally, a woman in the FBI got involved, and she was able to get everybody. All the 4 men were arrested, and some of the wives who are basically helping that were over 18 or women, they were arrested as well. And then essentially he was able to. My biggest thing is I understand religion, that you want to believe in something. That's what we all have. Most of us, unless you're atheist, and even if you're atheist, you believe in something, you believe in nothing, right? So if you have any type of religion, any type of belief system, you have something, whether it's a god, whether it's multiple gods, whether it's like Buddha, like you have something, a higher power you believe in, right? And that's what some people take advantage of, people that are just so devoted to that. I don't understand how this man was able to convince 3 grown men to help him do these sex crimes with their own daughters, and then pay for it, and then pay for his life. You cannot tell me you're that into your religion. You're also a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Right?
100%. But I also, most of these people live in this since their birth, their entire.
Well, that's what they're all saying. Yeah,
having sex with them and being with them, they're like, well, he's the prophet, so this is we're as close to God as we can possibly be, and if we don't do what he says, we're gonna be damned and in hell, and they believe that literally. Yeah, you know what I mean, and have been conditioned over and over and over. So I do think it's a combination. You wonder okay, where's your conscience in this? We all have a conscience, but then you wonder. That's why I think cults are really fascinating, because it's does one override the other? Yeah. Does you have this sort of feeling, this doesn't feel right, but you're but this is the prophet. Yeah. And the prophet tells me, and what I've been told my whole life is the prophet. So it is kind of an interesting, but I thought it was interesting. I think people, it's always it's good to see these inside. We never really see the sort of internal workings of the stuff. So I thought she did a really good job of really.
They had so much footage.
Oh my!
They had so much footage because this man was a narcissist and kept saying, "Come film me, come film me."
Well, and how about he was bounding around the mountains, and he's doing catch me jumping, catch me running.
He's like that little kid that's look what trick I can do. Boom.
Reminded me of would be a little Lego man,
Well, they were saying even as good filmmakers, the husband was he was this shit was stupid, and I had to act good job, buddy, because they were just trying to get more evidence. They really were undercover, and it's so interesting because they were this guy would call us come film this, and him sitting in the woods, and they're okay, this is they did, and they were very dedicated. I mean, you got to give it to them. They did everything they could to save those those women.
I'm how are they funding this?
I know,
but
I know.
I always wonder. I'm where's everybody getting the money?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. But basically, all the grown men got lengthy 35, 25, 55 years. Some of the women got some good sentences. Then some of the younger girls who were barely legal, they had like one or 2 years, and they, of course, they did come on and said that their life started when they went to jail, and that they couldn't believe they believed in this, and that they were helping him do these things because they were barely 18. Yeah. But they did get one of them was in jail for like a year and a half, maybe like 2 years. Like they did serve jail time because they did help hide him because once they were hiding the children. They stole the children. They stole the underage children from CPS after they were taken. Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
It's a good insight. So if you like this sort of cult stuff, to get the psychology of it,
definitely take a gander. But if you want something lighter, watch the Housewives of Rhode Island or Big Mistake on Netflix. It's really, really good.
Yeah, I feel like there's more coming. So
yeah, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my name's Winnie in Winnie's World everywhere. That's Katherine. My objection everywhere. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. Happy vacation week to all the moms out there.
Oh yeah.
See kids at home.
Bye. Bye.